I mean, I guess everyone would say, well, you go and do a different, the time. But in actual fact, the time is irrelevant in a way. It was the whole experience of it all, because we were, we were at the latter half of the race, but there were still teams that you just feel like you were racing. And I still feel like we didn't win it, but I still think I feel like a winner.
You raced the course.
Low Tide Boys, a Swimrun podcast. I'm Chip.
And I'm Chris, and this is episode 109 of the show. And welcome to the second annual Partners Month. For the entire month of February, we will be sharing conversations with swimrun teams from all over the quote-unquote world. We're talking Europe and the U.S. primarily, to highlight one of our favorite features of the sport of swimrun, the partner part. So we did this last year.
My favorite month.
I'm trying to remember. Was it just because Valentine's Day was at the tie-in last year?
I don't know. I think it kind of was. But we already had, I remember last year we had Amy and Trista of Team Adorkable lined up. So take 109 and minus 52, and that's what episode this is. And then
we had Team Max Mockerman. I can't remember them all. We had the Swimrun Mugs.
We had the Swimrun Mugs on there.
And
do we have Amy, as keen as mustard, mom and daughter team?
Well, I don't think they're a mom and daughter team. They're my mom and daughter team and race directing.
Yeah, race directing team.
But anyway, we're obviously super well prepared for this episode. But regardless, our first conversation this month is with the wife and husband duo, Chrissy and Bill Lankford, a.k.a. Team Mr. and Mrs. B. This happily married couple has raced a ton of swim runs, including what we think is a holy/unholy trinity of super hard events: Engadin, Rockman, and obviously the World Championship, ÖTILLÖ, the Swimrun World Championship, excuse me. And we're super stoked to share that chat with all of you.
Yes, a great one. Yeah. And our longest to date, I will add. We're having such a great time.
It's a long chat.
On to the training update. So, we're still training, but now we have pivoted our focus to Swimrun Lake James, which is happening in April. So, as most folks probably have already heard or seen and heard, Swimrun ÖTILLÖ Catalina has been postponed. More on this in the This Week in Swimrun segment later on the show. It's definitely a bummer that the race was postponed, or was it technically canceled?
I think it's, well, they're refunding everyone, which is their new policy. So
or 95% of your
It's like postponed, like we think we'll be able to put it on later in the year, maybe.
Yeah. But they don't want to get everyone's hopes up again and then have to crash those again.
Yeah, which I appreciate.
I'm like Michael Scott in The Office. I'm ready to get hurt again. I'm ready to get hurt again. But we still have a packed race calendar in 2022, and the show must go on. So we're out here. We're training. Hills are still prescribed because hills pay the bills. Yeah. We might not be running leg 3 up the Catalina course, but hills are good for the legs. They're good for the mind and the soul. So we're just going to keep running them.
Sounds good.
Now to this week's shout-outs.
All right. This week we're shouting out at _Radberg. He is an artist out of North Carolina and drew up this cool creature of endurance design in honor of Swimrun, which he's super stoked on.
He is.
And he's going to let us use it as our 100K, 100,000 download sticker, which should be happening in a couple months here. So super rad of you, Radberg. See what I did there? He's also signed up for Lake James, which that too is rad.
That is rad.
Thanks, buddy.
Berg. Now for this week's Feats of Endurance. Feet.
Oh.
This week's winner is Bay Area local Clayton Cook. He threw down a spicy 30K trail run in the Marin Headlands over the weekend. But we don't know if it was the beautiful weather or the 3,775 feet of climbing that gave us the FOMO. Any rate, good workout there, Clayton. If you want to be like Clayton, run on over to our Strava club. Search Low Tide Boys on Strava. Join the club. We got so many people there. I don't even know what to do with myself. Yeah. But kudos are flying all over. Workouts are flying all over. Be a part of it. It's a nice little community over there on Strava. Now for This Week in Swimrun.
All right. right, welcome back to the LTBZ News Desk. I'm trying out
weather and news at the top of the hour.
Yeah. All right, so we're kicking off this week's update with a bummer, just to get it out of the way. So last Friday, ÖTILLÖ announced that they're postponing their Catalina event, citing ongoing concerns related to COVID-19, which, I mean, damn, fuck. So sick of COVID.
Yeah.
We know there's a lot of people that are super stoked to either be racing that race for the first time or for the second time, but we applaud Michael Motz and the rest of the ÖTILLÖ crew for making the tough decision and prioritizing the health and safety of all the participants, volunteers, and spectators. We have the press release in hyperlinked in the show notes, so you can check that out if you want to read it for yourself. So today, when this podcast is being released, it's essentially Swimrunmas, which I'm just making that up because it's like Christmas for swim runners, where ÖTILLÖ will have announced the results of the 2022 World Championship ranking application. So we're recording this on a Monday. We still think that we have a decent chance of qualifying. So, just make sure you're checking out the memes because there's going to be a lot of stuff on our feed that day, both celebrating and commiserating with all the teams out there. But, best of luck. And, regardless of our fate, we congratulate all the teams that qualified. And, it'll be fun.
We'll be following along regardless.
Oh, yeah. One final bit of ÖTILLÖ news to report. They have open registration for most of their 2022 events, starting with the first event of the year. Well, since Sad Face Catalina, the new first event of the year, ÖTILLÖ Ute, which is taking place on May 24th at the cradle of Swimrun in the Stockholm archipelago, and I want to go there so bad. Mm-hmm. In other news, Swimrun Lake James is super close to selling out with only 6 team entries remaining for the long course. So this race is taking place on April 23rd, and I want this race to sell out. So if you're on the fence, sign up.
The Low Tide Boys will be there.
We'll be there. It's going to be great. We wish there was a hill because we're so optimized for hill. But anyway,
we will be so optimized. Yes.
Staying in the U.S.
In Northern California, back to our
Northern California. Yeah. That's right. TBF Racing in California has open registration for their Folsom Swim Run. As far as we can tell, TBF primarily puts on triathlons, and this is their first foray into swim run. This event is taking place on July 23rd in Folsom, California, which basically means that it's going to be like crazy hot.
Yeah, I grew up around that area, and it will be hopeful. As you get into the distances of the thing, it's good because you want to keep it shorter. Because if you're out there at 11. It'll be like 90 degrees or something.
Yeah, very hot. So they're offering 2 distance options, a 3.5-mile short course and a 7.8-mile quote-unquote long course. So, I don't want to sound like Mr. Swimrun or anything, but these courses look really relatively easy.
Very approachable.
And great for beginners. So if you want to get, dip your toe in swim run, this would be a great way to do it. Very safe space to be swim running and running around the lake. Experienced teams might want to try to do 2 loops of the whole course if they can get around fast enough.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. Like I said, I grew up in this area, and you're kind of going down the Sacramento River. So, nice. It'll be fun.
I mean, the swim run. The swim run. We can drive to it. We
can get there stone's throw away of sorts.
We'll just have to get our hall passes lined up. Finally, while ÖTILLÖ Catalina is postponed, it's not all bummer news. It looks like there will still be a very healthy swim run extravaganza in 2 harbors happening at the end of March. Intrepid swim runners from Wild Swimrun, Envol Coaching, California Swimrun, and the Low Tide Boys are still planning to go out to Catalina and engage in a weekend of swim running. More details are forthcoming, so stay tuned for more updates wherever you get your news, whether it's here or a more reputable source. That's it for this week. Feel free to reach out and let us know if there's anything you'd like for us to mention on the show.
Absolutely. Now on to updates. Gong Hei Fat Choi. It's Chinese New Year, everybody. So we hope if you're celebrating that, getting your red envelopes full of nice, crispy 20s.
Yeah.
Maybe a C note in there if grandma's nice.
Oh, no. Grandma's giving like a $5 bill, dude.
Oh, man. Come on, grandma.
Or a shiny coin, like a $1 shiny coin.
What, the chocolate coins, though?
No.
Can we get some chocolate coins?
I mean, you could.
And then once you're married, you can't receive an envelope. So
that's right.
It's only for
But your kids can, so you can just make sure. Yeah, we gave some to our kids because my wife is Taiwanese, so we did a whole thing on it. But yeah, it's fun.
Awesome. And munching on the mooncakes as well.
Mm-hmm.
Those are, they're heavy. It's a very dense cake.
Yeah.
But, for a celebration. What? For a celebration. That's what I was trying to say.
I like celebration. I like it.
Okay. I'm going to go with it. Also, don't forget, if your ears are feeling chilly or your top of your head's really cold, we have so much Low Tide Boys headwear, apparel, stickers, sweatshirts. If you want to rep the Low Tide Boys or Swimrun, just head on over to our shop. We got all new stuff in there. We got beanies, all sorts of different types of hats, sweatshirts, 2 or 3 different types of shirts, all sorts of stickers.
Yep.
And it gives us something to do during the day at work to ship out this stuff.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
Just more things to put on our plate.
Now for the interview with Team Mr. and Mrs. B. That's Bill and Chrissy.
All right. Well, this is a conversation that we've been wanting to have for a really long time. Yeah. Bill and Chrissy have been huge supporters of ours since we started the show. And it was really great to finally chat with them about their swimrun journey, their life, and their swimrun partnership. We chatted about all kinds of stuff in this episode, and it's safe to say if we ever find ourselves at the same race, there'll be fights over who's going to be buying the post-race pints.
Oh, pints. I did notice pints. We have to brush up on our Queen's English.
Yeah. Anyway, we loved everything about this conversation, and it was really great to have him on. I mean, it was such a cool chat.
It was great, and we were really, like I said, this has kind of been one of our longer interviews, but Chris and I are really enjoying the conversation, and kind of when we normally look to wrap it up or bring things to an end, we're like, oh, let's just keep going with it. We're really enjoying it with Bill and Chrissy, so we went a little long, but we know you're going to enjoy it.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's great, and I can't think of a better team to kick off Partners Month.
Absolutely.
And I mean, they're stout swim runners, regardless of what they'll say. So So take everything they say with a grain of salt. They're handling their own, no problem.
So grab your tether and cozy on up to your partner and enjoy Mr. and Mrs. B.
Team.
We have a very special team today as guests, and before I introduce them, I need to lay some groundwork for this conversation.
Okay, let's hear it.
Because this is a conversation, if I can speak for Chipper, we've been wanting to have for a very long time. The team we have on, they've been really supporting us and encouraging us since we started this thing, when we were just putting it out into the ether and seeing what would bounce back. And this couple have been supportive, very encouraging. They asked us to mail them stuff to the UK, and it's with great pleasure that we welcome Bill and Chrissy Lankford to the show. Welcome, guys.
Good evening. Hi there.
So, like I said, we're just so happy to finally have this conversation. I feel like if we would ever find each other at the same race, we would have to go get a couple pints just to have like a thorough conversation. So we're just going to do it. We're just going to do it right now on air. And there's really a lot of ways we can take this discussion, right? We can talk about partnership. We can talk about your races. I mean, it's kind of like a choose your own adventure. But because we're going to release this in Partners Month, I guess the first question is, so who is kind of the team leader and why is it Chrissy?
Whoa.
Well, I think
we already stumped them with our first question. I love it.
I think initially I thought it was me when we did our very first race, which was the Isles of Scilly, and because I was a swimmer, and I kind of, and it turns out I really don't like swimming in the sea. So our very first thing, the very first time I get in the sea, and I had this massive panic, and I literally couldn't swim. And I had Bill just grabbing hold of me and pulling the tow rope, and then he just set off. And so I thought, he's the leader now. that was so. It was a big surprise to me that I really did not like swim. I just had a huge panic, and so I think probably Bill. Bill, which is a shame because I really want to be it, but sometimes I am.
Well, you are. I think Bill will agree.
The beauty of swimrun, it's a very fluid thing. Sometimes people have to rise up when the occasion presents itself.
Yeah, I think what we find is that at the very beginning, like Bill is like really going for it, and he just like runs me ragged. So I mean, for the first 2.5 hours, I could, if someone said, "Do you want to sit down?" I'd go, "Yeah, I want to sit down." and then in the middle of the race, we kind of both are going pretty well, really, really in tune. And then maybe at the end of it, Bill's kind of starting to flag, and I'm like, I can go, I'm ready now, I'm ready.
So it just takes you a couple hours to warm up. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I know. Well, it does, yeah. So I think maybe that's sort of how it sort of works a bit like that, doesn't it? I think.
Sounds like perfect.
Yeah, I'm just taking this all in.
Yeah. So you guys.
You know, actually, you said something really important. Actually, that depending on the race, either of us will take the lead for sure. And I think so. There are some races, a couple that I would never have finished on my own for sure. And I think that's probably.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I think
in.
that's also the beauty of Swimrun. Like two people, it's you're sort of more than the sum of your parts in many ways. But so you guys have raced a ton,
starting in
super
2016
with Isle of Scilly.
Yeah.
What was your first exposure to Swimrun, and why were you guys like, oh yeah, we should try that as a husband and wife couple?
I mean, this is kind of a very British thing, actually. So there were three guys that we live in Cambridge in east of the UK, and there were three guys who clearly spotted ÖTILLÖ developing in sort of 2015, and they set up a series of 3 races in a local gravel pit. They called it the Toadman World Series.
Okay.
So that was our first experience, and that's Tom Vickery, Rich Sale, and Stu Hodgson, and they did little 5K races, and I did the first one in a full wetsuit, and it was horrific.
Yeah,
I could imagine.
I hated it. I mean, you know, you're overheating, you're getting cramp in.
I didn't do it because I just thought it was madness.
But we didn't understand Swimrun. This was just a fun thing to do. I mean, they were great guys, and we followed them in. And it was Chrissy, I think. This is kind of pre-big social media, wasn't it?
So it was in 220. Yeah. So they had a thing in 220, and they said they were going to do this race in the Isles of Scilly. Well, we'd never been to the Isles of Scilly, and 2016. So this is like 2015. So 2016 was like, you know, our children were kind of self-sufficient, so we thought, well, yeah, let's give this a go. So that was it, really. We thought we'd give it as a one-off.
She bullied me into. I was terrified, guys. I was terrified. So bear in mind, I did my first triathlon at 42.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I had a 300-meter pool swim, and I had to stop twice to get my breath.
Okay, wow.
So that was like 10 years before doing Scilly. I was really concerned that this was it was nearly 10 kilometers of swimming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a pretty gnarly swim totality of swim there, and I think there's a 3K swim there, right, Chris?
So you swim like 2 and a bit K out from the main island St Mary's at the start, and the swim home to St Mary's is 2.7, 2.8 K.
Gotcha.
In the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah.
It's quite a thing. I can tell
that
you.
is a thing.
Well, you know, that's one of the themes of Swimrun. I think it's like, you know, we were on a run, and we were talking about this race, Orcas Island, that we all did, and we mentioned it on last week's show. That's like, anyone who finishes one of these events, you just get respect, right? It's just like, you win it, good for you, congratulations. But if you just finish it, you're
equally
like, all
impressive.
right, yeah, exactly,
equally impressive, no doubt.
Yeah.
And so I guess that was our first exposure to proper the swim run, and then
you really caught the bug.
I tell you that. I mean, this is how little we knew about the ÖTILLÖ guys. So, I mean, they worked so hard at the beginning to build their profile. I mean, they came over to the UK to Triathlon show to promote it. You know, they were in the media trying to get entries. We didn't really know what they were like. And I can remember on the evening before the race, we scouted the first transition, and there's a really nice beach.
Mm-hmm.
And I was saying to Christy, well, let's see this sand here. We'll just go in here and then we'll avoid the big waves and it'll be fine. And on the race on the morning, they taped it and had a marshal forcing you over these rocks,
over the rocks.
into the sea.
So now we know if we're wrecking a course, we have to look for, like, you know, the hardest way in and out, and that will be the way that things will go. You know, so that's just
the path
but
of most resistance.
Yeah. That's hilarious. So you do this race. You obviously have a transformative experience, to say the least. And then you guys really caught the swim run bug and done all kinds of event, not just ÖTILLÖ, but you've done a bunch of the Brecca races and as keen as mustard and stuff. What was it about it that you got, you know, that made you guys think of, let's do this. Let's see if we can get to the World Championship. Let's see what happens here.
I don't think it dawned on us that we could do the World Championships until we did Rockman, wasn't it? Because we just thought that was like, that the world champs was like, there's no way we'd be able to do anything like that. We just couldn't possibly do it. And but I think it's it was doing like something like that, which was found really, really difficult. And then we both we crossed the finish line. Actually, we crossed the finish line first. The first time we crossed the finish line, people thought we were third because you cross the finish line before you go up those 4,400 steps. So people were cheering us, and we were like going, "Oh no, we've got to go up the steps!" So like, and the couple that were second turned around and looked at us, and they kind of they obviously must have thought, "How did they come third?" Anyhow, we still had about another 2 hours. So after we literally crossed the finish line, and we both looked at each other and we went, "We could definitely do the world. We could definitely do. We should try to do the world champs." And I think it was that a really hard race, like Rockman. I think was the
push
thing,
that you needed.
We could do this.
Yeah.
Was it from a physical piece about like, I mean, the world champion is going to take you 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 hours, or was it the mental side of it, like the sort of grind of a big event like that? Or probably
13 hours, 13 hours, 35 minutes, incidentally. That's
so
I think it was the duration, it was the length, because basically the Rockman is like a 40k event. Yeah. But none of it is like, the running. They have this little joke about this, they call it this seaside sprint, and it's like 5k, and it's not. The joke is that there's no sprinting at all because it's over these massive boulders and stuff. Yeah. So the physical thing of that, and then the length of time we were out, because most of our races are sort of 6-7 hours, and we never thought we'd be able to do 11 or 12, and I think the reason probably the reason I was drawn to Bill was that it's something we could do together. It sounds really corny. Something we could do together, that we were kind of more equal at, because if it was like triathlon based and cycling, he'd be just so far ahead of me cycling. But the swimming and the running, it all levels out. And I think that was the draw, to sort of carry on and do more events,
So I get that. I mean, that makes total sense that that's a draw, but it's a different kind of draw when you're like, you know what? How about Engadin? How about Hvar? How about Rockman? Like,
well,
you guys are
so the part of the reason we were not targeting the World Championship is just the we're like, we're old, like mid 50s then. I mean, next swimmer I'll be 58. I just thought this is just too hard. We did Engadin and Rockman back to back, 4 weeks apart. I think they were.
It shows how little we knew about what we were doing.
Jesus, so
I wouldn't do that. That sounds
and it was then being, we could do this now.
Yeah,
we can do these long events. And the crazy thing is, guys, I mean, Chrissy is so much faster than me swimming. They're different. In a pool, but put him in a wetsuit
and like pimp him up with his like pool boy and his paddles, and he's like Phelps.
I have confidence giving tips to anyone out there who's worried about their swimming and thinks that they won't be able to do it. You can definitely do it. Yeah, I find it really annoying that he can so putting all the stuff on for me. I mean, it doesn't make me much quicker than in a pool. Mm-hmm. But Bill, it's just this transformation
turns him into a dolphin of sorts,
like a Superman.
Yeah, obviously.
Right,
it's really
annoying. Problem.
People, there's a funny thing in the club, wasn't it? Yeah. And the picture, someone made a thing in a Cambridge Triathlon club, and because with Bill coming out of the water, and they said, "Why was Bill coming out of the water?" And I said, "Because Bill leads the swims." And they went, "No, nobody believed that he leads the swims because he's So I swim in lane 3 of 4 in our triathlon club.
Okay.
Yeah. So in the pool,
I swim in lane 1.
She swims in lane 1.
But that it means nothing.
So a little humble.
But to anyone out there who's a little bit concerned about swimming in Swimrun, actually, if you're a mediocre swimmer, I mean, for me, the pool boy and the wetsuit, gives you the position, helps you get a really good catch and pull through.
Yeah.
And if you've got a reasonable sort of power to weight ratio and with the paddles, you can really anchor yourself. And actually in a pool, I just can't do that. I can't hold my position well enough to really pull through. And that's a big difference for me.
Interesting.
Yeah, I definitely the gear, the way it's sort of evolved over the years too. They are seeing that, oh yeah, this maximal kind of flotation that we can get really does help save the legs too. And you know what we have found over the, I'm sure you guys noticed too, but the swims, your legs do get a nice break. So again, on the run side of the equation too, if you look at the totality of the run distance, you might say, oh, 20 miles or 40 Ks or whatever, that's a ton of running. Yes, if you just ran all the way through, but when you're cutting it up into 11, 12 different runs, it's a much more digestible, approachable way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I always take every event literally 1 kilometer at a time. And I like to say a kilometer because I think it's smaller than...
It is.
It is.
Well, it is smaller than a mile, but...
It also makes you sound very European.
Which
you are.
You are.
So so a kilometer, is like 2.5 times on a running track, whereas a mile's like 4 times round. So I think that's much, so as soon as someone says mile, I go, oh no, not miles, I'll never do that. A kilometer, I just think it's just a kilometer, that's all it is. It's just 1K at a time.
They just tick right on by, huh?
Yeah.
You just keep going and that's it.
And chances are in 5K or less, you're going to be in the water again.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal if you can pull it apart and just have these little targets. It makes it much more achievable. But I heard on one of your, I've spent over 100 hours of my life listening to your podcast.
Sorry, thank you.
Now you're gonna have to listen to yourself. That's gonna be really weird. Just so you know, that's a weird thing.
But I was listening to the Boston Red Sox. I mean, first of all, my God, those two are so fast.
Oh yeah,
they are a force of nature.
2019, jeez.
Yeah.
And then again in Malta. But
yeah.
I mean, a couple of things they said, about this ability sometimes that you think you've had it. You think you're done. Yeah. And somehow in swimrun, you swap between the stages and you can turn it around. Yeah. Providing you don't go anaerobic, you can come back, which is brilliant.
Yeah. It definitely is there. And I like, Chrissy, I like your little mental, I don't want to call it mental gymnastics a little bit, but it's like, whatever sort of tricks you have to tell yourself to get you through to the next thing. And everyone has their own little, their own, I guess, mantras, if you will, that kind of pushes you through. But I do like that one of, it's just one more K to go.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if I'm going to poke holes in that one is like, well, there's more Ks. So there's usually fewer miles than Ks, but
Yeah, well, I mean, it really worked on the World Champ one because they have you have a 20K run
right
in the middle from one island to the other.
So
and it just really helped doing that.
Yeah.
1K, then another one.
Yeah.
20Ks of running in the middle.
Sure. Are you guys reliving that one now? Let's get a quick. How did the whole World Championship go for you? I know there was a little bit of
13 hours, 35 minutes.
It's a long day.
Do I think it probably helped that we are married and have been racing for a long time because of COVID. The restrictions, we didn't know that we could definitely get to the race until 2 weeks before.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So Sweden was not letting in British people from Britain. We were in our own little plague island at that time. And we had a letter from I'm going to butcher all these Swedish words. So I'm going to say ÖTILLÖ. I'm sorry to our Swedish partners here. So we got a letter from Michael saying, Chrissy and Bill are qualified for the World Championship. But to be honest, I mean, although our friends Piers and Claire used it successfully, I was really worried that
we don't
the Swedish border police would say, "You've got to be kidding!"
Going, what? You two? No way.
It's like World Championship of what? It's like, don't worry about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I said, well, we don't really look very professional, do we, Bill? And he looked at him and he went, maybe we won't try going.
Yeah. So we, so the reason we're able to go is that Denmark opened up its borders just like 2 to 3 weeks before the race.
Yeah.
And because of the close alliance in the Scandinavian countries, we knew it would be very easy to go from Denmark to Sweden. So we could do a test in Denmark and there was not even any check. I almost felt I wanted to go up to
much paperwork.
I had so much paperwork. I wanted to go to a border police and say, look at what I've got.
Yeah.
I'm here. And this is all the stuff we've done.
Yeah.
But anyway,
yeah.
So I guess it wasn't a great start. We had fantastic plans to train. We were going to go on a camp with Nicholas Ramirez.
Yeah.
We went to Gothenburg as a race tune-up. And then, what do we do? In the end, we listened to Oscar's episode on your podcast about 10 times.
Yeah. And then
we watched Nicholas's race videos, and that's the sum total of the course.
Because our training was basically, we've got like a 50-meter incline to run on, and like a little mini wood to kind of run through, so get the tree root experience. And then we were training in the gravel pit next to the sewage works, and that was it. We didn't have anything else to sort of go and do. So but the Keenest Mustard had their events on, which meant we could do like 20k events then. So that did save us a bit. And then we managed to find one long distance event, the
Mad Hatter Roseland,
the Mad Hatter Roseland in Cornwall.
Oh, nice.
We were top mixed couple.
I know. We mentioned it. We mentioned it on the show.
But it was the only long distance event in the whole of the UK, wasn't it? Because everything else was like short thing, and it was the only thing that had kind of rocks and everything else, and we managed to do that, which was good.
So basically a lot of stress and uncertainty getting to the start line. When we got there, the kind of emotion. Michael and Max, they just have that skill working the crowd. You go to you've been to Catalina race briefing. They really work a race briefing. And at the World Champs, they've got you in this kind of auditorium in the hotel, and they really ramp up the hype. It's superb. Yeah, absolutely superb.
Yeah.
And on the day, we had a fantastic start.
Actually, the first thing was trying to make sure you got up early enough. You had to get up at 3 a.m. And prior to that, we thought, well, should we practice getting up at 3 a.m? And you just can't do that.
Yeah, that's like a dare to be great situation. Just do it on the day.
You just have to get up.
Yeah.
And
we did. We had a really good start. Of course, exactly. I guess the one thing for anyone doing it, it sounds crazy saying it because you should expect it, but in a normal, even a World Series race, you're going to be faster than some people on some sections, and so on others. There's a differential in performance. Of course, at the World Championship, everyone is dialed in.
Yeah.
So you start that run, even if it's behind the bike, and they go, you hear Oscar, they really slow it down. It's like we're this is quick enough for me, and you get in the water.
Quick enough for me.
We were having a really good swim, but I can't say we overtook many people.
No.
So it's everyone's dialed in. We had a super race. It was I don't know when about a third of the way in or less when. So
it's very slippy. Things are very slippy. So you're being very, very cautious.
You put that meme out. You know how slippy it is.
I'm just guessing, but.
Yeah, I know. Well, no, but I actually, not that I was visualizing that, but anyway, on the edge of the third swim, I did the comedy right up in the air and right on my backside, so I'd never injured my coccyx before, and that was pretty. But fortunately, this is the whole beauty of Swimrun, is that there was then about an 800 or 900 meter swim. Yeah. So I immediately was in the cold water, so that did help.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit, but we did, we managed to sort of carry on fine anyway. But we were doing, Bill's obsessed with pace, and I'm all about the cutoffs. I know when they are. I know when the feed stations are. Bill's like pace, and that doesn't interest me at all. I'm really only interested in, what the cutoff is. and
the Twix bar. After
yeah,
exactly.
That's what I'm interested in.
The first ones always seem to be a little bit tight, don't they?
Yeah.
You know, so we knew that, and then the next big one was going to be we had to get there for like 2:00 or something, and we were there at about 10 to 1. So I was like, we're like,
oh, nice.
We've got this.
Yeah.
Because by that time that would have been the equivalent of doing like an ÖTILLÖ, you know, the UTA. So that would have been like at 39, 40k. So we're like, we're great, we're doing well, you know, everything's going perfectly. And then it was all, I mean, anyway, then poor old Bill had a bit of
well, we both had slips. So Chrissy had fallen in the forest.
Oh yeah, I forgot I cut my knee.
She split her knee.
Oh my word.
And
which is still split now.
It's still a bit.
It's still bleeding.
So that was very good. And then I had a really innocuous, like my foot slid out like a half split, and didn't think too much of it. But when we got to Orna, I mean, I'd really pulled my hip flexor.
Yeah.
So I was struggling to lift my leg properly, and I think this is. If you come in,
old man shuffle.
Yeah, I was doing the old man shuffle, and it was, which would have been fine, and I thought we were going to breeze Orna, but the opening part is actually a little bit
really
technical.
Yeah.
So just the first couple of K, I really struggled with that, and that's a part where if I hadn't been with Chrissy at some point on Orna, I would have. Yeah, so I would have folded, I think.
So this was like, you know, he was the, you know, we did change lead then, and I just got the tow rope and just that was it. I was off, and
nice.
and I did slow down if I felt the tension. Was getting
dead
a little
weight,
bit.
Dead weight.
And then I said, you know, do you want to? And then he'd want to have a little kind of walk, and then I'd be like, you know, because I knew we had quite a good cushion, because then the next cut-off was it 4:00 or something? I can't remember but the next one. But you know, I knew we were going to be fine, but it was just, you know, that sort of ambition of the time would have been was out the window. But it didn't matter. The important thing was that we could just we knew we'd be able to finish.
Right.
But it was so it was just kind of going along, and then, you know, when things got a bit tense,
I tell you, this where the mantras fail you. So I had the mantra going through my head. I was going it's like
pain is something. Oh, you're
pain is temporary.
You were playing that at 3 in the morning. That was really annoying. Quitting lasts
forever.
It's like a Marine Corps thing.
That was the mantra, and I tell you, when you've gone through that about 100 times in your head on Orna, it wears a bit thin.
Sure.
It runs out of power.
Yeah, you start going with like, how many Ks do we have left?
Yeah.
Start following Chrissy's plan.
Like,
Exactly.
what mantras are you using right now? I could use a refresh on mine.
Yeah, please, could someone Google some more mantras? I need one urgently.
Okay, you heard it. So, send Bill all your mantras that you use during the race.
Please.
ÖTILLÖ experience.
Yeah, we'll have his DM we'll have his Instagram in the show notes, so he can get bombarded with mantras.
So, how is this? Is the World Championship just like a bucket list one for you, one and done? You feel like you did it, and you're happy about it, or maybe go back? Did you put in for the lottery this year, which we'll find out here very shortly?
No, we didn't. I just thought it was amazing, and to be able to, not that I can predict the future, but to be able to top that, is I think I'm pretty happy with. You know, I guess everyone would say, well, you could go and do a different, the time. But in actual fact, the time is irrelevant in a way. It was the whole experience of it all, because we were, we were at the latter half of the race, but there were still teams that you just feel like you were racing. And I still feel like we didn't win it, but I still think we're, I feel like a winner.
You raced you raced the course. Yeah. So we had a little autobus at the back. There was a super French team that
there was like 4 or 5. There were about 5, 6 teams. We were kind of passing each other, and and it was. So we felt like we were really, still racing, even though people had finished like 5 hours before.
Oscar would have been,
I think
he's already showered and shaved and everything.
Yeah, really. I mean, really.
I do like that because I remember when you were interviewing him and you said to him about the cut-offs, and he it was as if he didn't know what they were.
Yeah.
He's like, of course, for
I don't
us,
think
that
they're on
is
his
a
radar.
big
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of just a different way to think about it, where you are in sort of the fitness spectrum. I mean, I think it's interesting, and it's really cool that you got to do the race now, because I think we can all sort of anticipate and predict that the sport's going to grow, and while you hope that the same vibe will remain, 5-10 years from now, it's always hard to tell what's going to happen with these types of things, and the fact that you're able to do it and really just enjoy kind of the magic of it, I think it's really great.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think it is. I mean, that's the right word, actually.
I think, Chris, that is absolutely spot on. So I think completely with Chrissy. I would be happy to do the race again. I mean, genuinely, and this is the one problem as you get older. It's the training that's the problem.
Yeah. Having the time to do that.
When you're trying to do the mileage to achieve the course and make sure you can finish. I mean, and that was critical. We were racing the course. We finished. It's all consuming in your week, and I'm not sure whether we could. Really,
it's a lot.
Face up to doing that again. I mean, right. As you come into the last couple of months, I mean, it's almost embarrassing, isn't it? I mean, I wouldn't have been able to say to anyone I could see them before 2:00 on a Saturday or a Sunday, because we'd do big blocks of training and then be
asleep.
Like, I need a bit of a midday nap,
Got to recharge those batteries.
Yeah. On the other side, it's the problem of having young kids, because we'll do a big block of training and then it's like, all right, Dad,
we need a nap, but we can't get one.
It's like, you're on. I mean, I think it's interesting. I'm always fascinated in sort of team dynamics and the way partners communicate. And, was there a point during the World Championship where you were rather super grateful that you each had each other as partners, or points where you were like, all right, we need to stop and recalibrate our communication because it's breaking down or something, or kind of, I'm just curious, sort of what happens on a race that's long from a partner communication perspective for you guys? Is it just all hunky dory or something else?
Well, I think rather bizarrely, this was our best race. And the reason why is because Bill kind of toned down my caffeine intake, because I get a real hit from the caffeine, and it really gets me going. And so in previous events, I probably could have a little bit too much caffeine, and then maybe there'd be a little bit of fractious behavior, maybe a bit more tension in the rope. And this time, so he laid all the gels out, and there was only 3 caffeine gels, and I was going, 3? What do you mean? For the whole day, 3 caffeine gels? And he said, well, you can't have too much caffeine. And I was going, no, I need it. And anyhow, it worked, because I was I think I was sweetness and light. I was really good. I really behaved myself.
What Chrissy's not telling you is that it took me a couple of races to realise that our daughter's a cyclist, and Chrissy had got caffeine chewing gum from our daughter Sophie.
Oh yeah, run gum.
So she was chewing on this stuff before that. I just thought it was normal chewing gum, and then I have a ritual where I will have a pretty hefty caffeine gel right at the start. So she was having 4 espressos before we even crossed the start line. Nice.
I love it.
So it could get pretty pumped at the beginning. And the other thing is she wears earplugs. So anything that she says to me is at quite high volume. So I mean, back to the very first one we did in 2016.
Oh, yeah, that was a silly one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, we met. So at the end, so we did the race. It's our very first race together, and at the end, we were in the pub and having a few drinks with people, and then someone came up to us, and this guy tapped me on the shoulder, and he said, "I'm not sure if you knew, but I heard you shouting at your husband,
effing this, effing slow down, wait."
But that's the caffeine. That's the problem.
It's
the chewing gum that did it.
So we need a surf ears. I'm desperately trying to.
I was just going to plug those for Chris.
You should try the surf ears. Everyone who's used them. That's the thing.
Listen to the man.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. If if you don't want to hear Chipper or something like that, you can just pretend like they're working
That
too
does
effectively.
happen.
Oh, okay.
That does happen. I'll just be going, and I'm like, is Chris ignoring me right now? Can he hear me, or do I need to speak up more? I don't think it's that.
Like pull on the tether a
Yeah.
little bit.
I
ringing
always
the
just
bell.
say yes to Bill, whatever he's at, I can just see his lips moving. I just go, yes, yes.
Yeah.
More pace? Yep, sure.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely, I think that's a pro tip right there. Just turn down the volume of the hearing aid, whether you actually have one or not. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, can't hear my partner right now. So
Sorry,
just,
got my earplugs in or whatever.
Too
Love
funny.
it.
I can't live without my earplugs.
Yeah, I mean, we digress obviously, like I'm always doing, but we back to the partner dynamic. I mean, on Orna, we did have to recalibrate a bit. I mean, it was all very good natured, but I think we both had to kind of reset our expectations, because having been
just for the time, because you're an hour or so ahead.
Having been an hour ahead,
Yeah.
and like on for, I mean, we could have probably dipped under 12 hours, and I thought this was amazing. And then to
Yeah.
realize that you were chasing the calves, that's a big deal,
With a bum hip.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't think. I mean, I
Busted
didn't
knee.
feel we were under pressure. You see, this is the thing. That's why I said I look after the cut-offs, and although ideally it's really nice to be an hour within them, I realised that we were going to be like 40 minutes, for the last one, but I wasn't worried then, because I think once you've just got to sort of settle with whatever you thought was going to be happening, you just have to change it, and then so that recalibration thing, you just kind of realize, well, actually the important thing is that we finish, and whatever time it is, that doesn't matter. So I think you just got to let that go, and once you can do it, you can just relax, and then just get on with it, and so yeah.
I mean, so how do you guys? I mean, you've been chasing the results there in the States to get the points, and
well, I mean, I think it's well, this isn't about us guys, this is about you guys, first of all, but so yeah, I mean, I think what I really loved in what you said, it's like, yeah, at some point it's this is what a guest of ours and friend of ours, Mario Frioli, who's like a world-class running coach, says. It's not always about the finishing results, it's how you deal with the adversity and the challenges along the way. And then you just have to sort of adapt. I think for us, I feel like our performances have really been on an upward trajectory since Catalina. I mean, when we did Casco Bay years ago, I think we were all just kind of like, well, that was crazy.
Yeah, that was cool.
that was an experience, and it was kind of my fault because I convinced Chipper to do it or whatever. And I was feeling a little bit guilty because it was super hard and was longer than we thought it was going to be and all this stuff.
He worked me so hard on the ferry ride, I had to take a nap.
But
it had nothing to do with the 2 beers that I slammed right after.
Yeah, exactly. But we crossed the finish line and we both looked at each other and like, can we do another one of these?
Yeah.
So when you start the show and you start kind of putting yourself out there, and from the beginning of the show, we decided that we're gonna interview people and sort of highlight the sport, but also share our own swim run journey. So it's been great to see kind of the results come in. I know for me, right after Catalina, like literally cross the finish line, and I look at Chipper and I'm just like, we're going to come back and we're going to drop like an hour, 2 hours off of this time or something.
Yeah.
I was so motivated. And then COVID happens and I basically spent all that time just training. So coming out of COVID and being able to do races, I think for us, it was just great to be able to express fitness and do something that we've been talking about so much. Like whatever our skill level isn't, I think we definitely get a lot of play out of the fact that our swimrun IQ is super high, just from interviewing people and asking you guys, asking anyone who's done a race before for tips and things like that. So I feel like I don't like the word hack growth, but in many ways I think this show has been like a personal journey of education for us, and and we're still learning.
Yeah, and for sure. And I mean, I think we had this definite like pre-triathlon Ironman phase that we went through before kids. And then sort of Catalina was like our first real to-do post, we each had a newborn-ish. What year was this? What are we talking about? 2020?
Yeah.
So like a 1-year-old.
You had a 1-year-old. I had like a
You had like a 5 or 6 month old. So it was kind of where we felt like, okay, this is cool. Like we're team dad bod going out there, right? We're going to have fun. And then Casco Bay was this great sort of second wind into like a second coming of kind of this fitness that we, a previous glimpse at pre-kids.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
we keep trying to
And-
sharpen that spear. I
And
suppose.
this year, this past year, we hired a coach and we really took it seriously and really try to apply ourselves, not just because, this is, we don't want to embarrass ourselves or anything like that, but it's more from the point of like, hey, when you see the sport happen at a high level, not that we're ever going to be at that level, but the expression of swim run, where you can sort of seamlessly be moving through nature. If you can do that quickly, like I would say, the way, for example, the Boston Wet Sox, or when we saw Desiree and Fanny at Catalina, it's almost like a dance. It's almost like a dance, and to have it really feel like a dance, I think you got to go fast, or at least as fast as you can go. So that's basically, I think, last year where we kind of started chasing was just kind of like this flow state, which we definitely got in Catalina. Sort of had it in Orcas, kind of like sideways. Yeah, Casco.
Austin as well.
Yeah, and Austin, and yeah, I mean, I think that's where we're coming from with it. It's like we want to see how we just kind of see where it takes us, but we're actually talking about it this morning on our run. There's no delusions of grandeur. Like if we're lucky enough to get into the World Championship, yeah, we want to.
Yeah,
you're going to do.
We just want to make it.
There's some great points to pick up on there. I mean, I think that the first thing that I thought is there's a super little acronym that English rugby use called Teacup, which is it's about kind of taking control of when situations become unexpected. And I mean, we do that. You talk about what happens because I lead the swims. If one of the goggles breaks or we lose them, then I'll take the goggles. It's that kind of thing.
Yeah, basically means I have to give Bill my kit.
Yeah. You kind of you want to work through that kind of thing. I think in the flow state, I mean, we're a bit steadier, but we practice transitions a lot.
Yeah,
that does.
I mean,
help tremendously.
Honestly, that
just saves so much time.
I mean, there's some. We like the events that actually have quite a lot of swim and run. We do sort of seek those out. I mean, there's a super. I mean, we've been twice to the Foxhausen Solvala in Finland. Super course there, where it's. Yeah, I mean, I don't think you only run more than 4K, probably tops.
It's a genuine swim run. There's none of these like massive runs in the middle.
Yeah.
Like,
you don't just a casual half marathon in the race.
So
we don't really like the ones with the big run legs. So
but
on
we still
those,
end up doing them though.
Yeah, of course.
We still do it, but we don't like it.
Save a bunch of time from practicing transitions, and that's a great thing to work on, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we find that. Yeah, I mean, I think the way Chipper mentions it, I always really like. It's like if you don't have to spend mental energy on it, and it just kind of happens like on auto, becomes second nature. Then that that just enables you to be thinking about other stuff or nothing, or just be in the moment, enjoying it or whatever.
Absolutely like that. I mean, so I guess my confession, I don't really have an athletic background. I came from riding horses, so that was my thing. But one thing about doing equine sports is you really need to get practice in, because there's lots of unexpected things happening during the event at high speed.
Yeah,
and you've got to be able to do it. So it means that anything that's controllable, you must have practiced and got sorted in your head.
Yeah.
Yeah. So things that are like if you got to jump off rocks into the water, or at the starts of races jumping off a ferry, which is never not my favorite, but
ferry into cold water, so just a little added
ferry into
extra.
Fjords, ferry into fjord and jellyfish. So jellyfish,
the jellyfish, forgot about that.
Yeah, we've encountered a few jellyfish along the way. Yeah.
Oh, that actually, the jellyfish is what I like about swimrun is when you've got good organisers and good water safety, they control some of these kind of hazards for you, and it gives you permission to really push yourself. I mean, that's what I like about
Yeah.
swim run. And
Maybe you can't have a jellyfish.
but
swimming
things
into
like
a
what I mean
race.
with I'm gonna say with jellyfish species.
Oh
you
yeah.
know, so I can remember the first time we went on to Sweden we went to Ute, didn't we? And we decided to go on holiday, and we were in the south of Sweden, and there were swarms of jellyfish.
I know, yeah.
Because you have no idea whether this species is dangerous or not. You need a bit of local knowledge, and that's the nice thing about things like Swimrun is that they can say to you,
Yeah.
these are a
fine,
problem
yeah.
or these are not.
These are probably these are ouchy.
Mostly they're not, except in when we
Mostly.
did Rockman. There's
Yeah.
there was a lot of jellyfish, and I can remember at the start, one of the competitors said at the briefing, "What about these jellyfish? Are they going to be a problem?" And Thor said, "He's the pain of a jellyfish sting is not nearly as much as the pain of the race is going to be." So,
Sounds like a very.
The
and he was
Thor
right.
said.
I jumped off the ferry. I tell you, within 20 meters, I saw one coming right at me, and it got me right in the mouth.
Ooh.
Oh, a little
And-
kiss.
And yeah, it hurt. But I tell you, after 4 hours of Rockman, I didn't feel a bloody
Yeah.
thing.
Thor was right.
It had all, yeah, in the hierarchy of pain, it had gone down a couple of clicks. Yeah.
That kind of happened to us. We like seeing the wildlife at our races, and we were doing Austin, and we were like, hey, we didn't see any armadillos, and someone was like, oh yeah, they're nocturnal. It's like, oh, thank you for the local knowledge
Yeah.
of the wildlife, I guess.
Oh, that's funny.
That was.
Yeah.
That was.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah.
Is
Oh,
is there
that'd be
is there a race that you guys have done? Obviously World Championship and Rockman, these things have to stand out. Is there like a race that really turned into an adventure that you enjoyed for not just for like the magnitude of it, but or just something that was like, oh, I just love this event. It was so much fun. That you could recommend to us or recommend to our listeners, maybe things that you wouldn't think of.
Yeah, I guess there's a couple for different reasons. We like trying to get more people into Swimrun, and we did an event in Finland in 2018, which was Folkhälsan Salvala, which is a sports institute just outside Helsinki, and it's just such an amazing course that the only tarmac is, I think, you cross one road twice. The rest of it is forest and lakes, and they're so friendly. I mean, it's really low key.
It's a merit race.
Yeah, it's a merit race, but it's not flash at all. But they're so nice. I mean, we liked it enough that we went back the next year and took 12 of us from Cambridge Triathlon Club. We press gang to go into Finland. So.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Matt's was amazing, wasn't he? He's so good.
Yeah.
In organising everything for us. So that's a really good.
Yeah,
good
we've
race.
actually heard that recommendation from several people that race
That's
in particular, because it's like a couple of weeks after the World Championship usually. So
yes, it is. It
you
is.
can wrap it around.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's pretty cold. It is a tough old race, but just the guys are so nice. You're never going to do an event with just zero tarmac running, I don't think.
No.
Yeah, that would be definitely tough.
So we love them. I don't know. Well,
Yeah, I mean, you guys, as far as I know, you're the only people we've talked to who've raced in South Africa.
Yeah.
Oh, that.
Yeah.
Do that one. Well, that's funny because we were just talking
Okay.
about that because we were doing Cannes and we were at the start line and there was a guy, was it Galahad?
Yeah,
Galahad
is one of the
Galahad.
Galahad Clark, who's one of the Vivo Barefoot.
So we
Oh,
met
yeah.
him in the Isles,
founders, yeah.
we met him in the Isles of Scilly, and so we just turned around and he was behind us, and we were like, "Oh hi, sort of chatting away, and what are you doing anything else?" And we said, "Oh yeah, we're going to South Africa to do Torpedo," and his partner Andy Parrott said, "Oh, I'm going to do that." So literally, we were like in Cannes, and the person behind us, who we didn't know, who was partner to Galahad, was going to be doing the same race that we were going to do. So we said, "Right, okay, well, we'll just hook up," and that's what we did. So,
Nice.
but that's fantastic, Torpedo. But the sea is very cold. It was 8 degrees.
Yeah. So this is back to your your hacks from learning from other people, we should have looked at I mean, this is ridiculous. We looked at the photos of the first year's edition, and everyone's wearing like surf hats and full wetsuits. And I kind of thought, this South Africans, they're used to it being really hot.
Yeah.
Of course they can't hack it.
They can boil in neoprene all day, no problem.
Yeah.
It's dreadful prejudice, isn't it? I mean, this is awful. So we get there, and I actually was so concerned about overheating on the run. I mean, we took pretty lightweight kit.
Oh yeah.
And of course, it's November in Cape Town, and it's
there's like
it's the end of the winter.
Front and it comes in the sea, doesn't it?
It's quite warm on land, but my God, there's nothing between it and the Antarctic and the sea, like 6 to 8 degrees.
Yeah, so for our American listeners, that's 46-ish degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, that's crispy.
Honestly.
I mean, I looked like I had a facelift when I got out. Like a real, like no wrinkles.
It's like free Botox.
So we paid the price for not looking and respecting what the
everyone else was wearing. Yeah.
Oh my God! So it's just brilliant. It's got surf beaches. One of them's got a real proper riptide in it. They have to have a canoe stationed at the end in case you get caught and spat out.
That's good. Safety first.
Yeah, I mean that would be quite a ride, wouldn't it? That would be amazing. Oh, I tell you, the tide is so strong. It's reverse seeded. So we were like 4 out of 5 waves. I mean, we got quite confident where we put ourselves. And the winners, there's some amazing South African athletes. The winners swam past us just coming into this surf beach. And the guy made it to the beach. I couldn't go another inch, so I'd got to a point where I could stand up. I had to hold on to the bungee and pull Chrissy in
because I was in the rip thing,
because he was about to go into the rip. I mean, the guy just straight lined it. I knew it was there, but he'd just gone the fastest line and was strong enough to.
He was local.
Yeah, to hold it. Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, we there's a kelp forest in another one of the bays, and in Europe we have pretty soft seaweed, our kelp, what we call kelp, you just brush out the way. It's pretty big, but it collapses.
These are like trees.
These are like trees. I
like African
into
kelp.
one, expecting it to
fold
out
of
the way, and it stopped me dead.
Just like hits you in the face.
Knocked my bloody goggles off.
Wow. So you just swam like straight into a tree.
Into a tree, basically.
Honestly,
yeah, really.
Honestly,
That's what it's like.
They're so hard.
Yeah.
They're so hard. It is like someone just planted,
So I mean, if you ever get to South Africa, I mean, the race organizer, Richard, really impressed me. Super format. I think they've got some
good.
pioneering ideas and
fantastic location.
We'd recommend that as well. My God.
Yeah.
But there's loads of, I mean, we're so lucky in Europe that it's quite, or at least was, I mean, it was easy to fly around and travel everywhere.
I suppose for us, starting in 2016, we had like, nearly 4 years of really good chances of doing quite a lot of races. We started off doing 2 races in the first year, then 3, then we did 4, then we did 5, and eventually we ended up doing 7. And we only live like half an hour from the airport, and it's just so easy just to kind of get on a plane and go into Europe, and we kind of took advantage of that, really, didn't we?
Totally. I mean, so the big year looks like it was 2019. That's when you guys were like, let's just.
I think then we decided that from 2018, because we did Engadin and
we did
Rockman
and
Rockman in
Rockman and Solvala, didn't we? And we thought, okay, if we're going to go for the world chance, we've got to
get some points.
Stack some points,
So then we really went for it then. Yeah.
So we did VAR and Uta and Silly
Khan, I think.
Solvala we did, isn't it? Anyway,
yeah.
I mean,
impressive.
Oh, we finished with Cannes.
We did Cannes as well. I mean, one of the difficulties, and I so wish that we could rock up to another country and be great in another country. I mean, pretty much in the 2 times we've done Sillies, we've got double the points we've got in any other race. you know, somehow you're
Nice.
kind of in tune with your local conditions.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, the first time we did sit, I mean, we didn't know what we were doing, but fortunately, no one else really knew what we were doing. So we came 42nd, and that's our best ever until I finish.
Nice.
Funny.
But yeah, I mean, we've bagged points, decent points at Scilly both time, and pretty much double what we would get in another country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, and that paved the way. I mean, I guess COVID was obviously a huge bummer, but you know, ÖTILLÖ was great about kind of forwarding your points for the following year, right?
Yeah, well, that was it. It was kind of like as well, you know, keeping that open, which was brilliant. And but again, you know, then it got to the stage where we kind of really didn't know we were going to be able to get there, you know, even 2 weeks before. So, but yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we have a lot of respect for all of the organisers, but for ÖTILLÖ, I mean, Michael and Matt's, you know, I think some people coming in now perhaps wouldn't have seen how hard they worked at the beginning. I mean, they're just the energy and the drive to open up new events. It's tremendous.
Yeah.
They've been great. And, you know, I can't thank them enough really for keeping the place open, from rolling it from 2020 to 21. I mean, you know, there was a bit of chat in the swimrun community because you've got people who are hoping to qualify for 21 separately, and then they realised that were places going to be restricted because of 2020 rollover. It's
a lot of difficult
you know,
waters to navigate.
Yeah, and
sure.
the thing about so I used to work with race directors as a consultant, and you're never going to please everyone. And I think that's the hard part, where you're trying to make these calculations. And I think, you know, again, if I'm putting on my, you know, my professional hat, it's like the way they handled it, I think was pretty. It was both honorable, and I think
smart,
you know, well thought out. Yeah. For sure. And this isn't that message wasn't sponsored by. That wasn't a sponsored post.
It's like
no.
So a lot's kind of up in the air still for this year, depending on where you're living. What do you guys have on the docket for 22?
Ooh.
Well, we've already got one thing on at the moment, which is in May. So it's down in Cornwall. So it's a Mad Hatter. And again, we met these guys. Yeah, we met these guys eating ice cream in the Isles of Scilly, and they just said, "Oh, we put races on." We said, "Oh, do you? You know?"
We like to do races.
So we did their Roseland one last year.
Oh my god, fantastic!
I mean, that was wild. They are just. I mean, they're two fantastic guys. I mean, they're just
like wild, like Mad Hatter wild, or wild.
Well, yeah. Yeah, but just,
I don't know which came first, the organisation name or the guys. They fit beautifully together. Yeah.
But again, it's the same spirit of ÖTILLÖ, that if you can find the hardest place to get in and out of, then that's where you're going. You know, because there was one bit where we were swimming and we're thinking, where is the exit? And you could just see someone was just standing on a cliff waving a flag. You know, they were at the top of the cliff, and you had to get up at the bottom.
Nice.
Yeah, they weren't going to risk it coming down.
so that we haven't done this one before. So this is a new one for us to do.
That's called the Hokey Cokey.
Hokey Cokey.
Hokey Cokey.
And then so that's May, and again we've managed to get. Is it 12 or 14?
Could be 14, maybe
from
14.
Triathlon Club. So we're going to have a whole bunch of us going.
Wow.
You might need to change the name of the club to Triathlon and Swimrun Club.
Yeah, I know, that's right. I know. Imagine. And then the one that we couldn't do last time was Gothenburg, which we'd really like to do. So we had so that's how we did Malta. We kind of rolled that over from Gothenburg and did Malta instead. So we want to do Gothenburg, and then I'd really want to do Valor again in September, because I think that was really good. And yeah, I mean, I
think the slight fly in the ointment is in end of November. I sprained my ankle running Canicross, the dog, and it's taking a bit of time
we're kind of keeping off any full distance things until later in the year, I think.
Smartly, it sounds like.
So at the moment, I can manage 2.5K, and I'm doing that like 4 times a week. So I mean, it's shocking to think it would take me 6 weeks to run the World Championship course.
Bill, you know what I think you need, though? I think if you just have a couple pieces of caffeine gum, I think you'll be right as well.
Yeah, that's
No, I'm banned. He's banning me.
Well, no, she can have it, but not the gel. This is the whole thing.
It's either or. It's not fair.
So I guess Hokey Cokey is 20K with 5K swimming, I think.
Yeah,
And then the other one we got our eye on is the EX Swimrun.
Oh, the
yeah.
super sprint. Yes.
Wait, the super sprint or the their what they call their what is it? Their
one.
safari?
Oh, yeah.
So we would do the Sunday race. Yeah, the kind of safari, the 22K one. But I think if I understand it right, you just like turn up, pay €10, and you do the time trial.
Yeah,
sounds like it.
So it doesn't. It's I think we're at peace with ourselves really in terms of expectations. So we would
good.
certainly do that.
On the Saturday.
Why
that'd be a
wouldn't
lot of
we?
fun.
We wouldn't qualify, but we're definitely going to have a crack at it.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Yeah, and that's, I can wax philosophical about swimrun for hours, but, I think that's another thing on why I think the sport, and I think why the sport's in a great place, and I think we all need to sort of appreciate the fact that we're essentially living in the golden age of swimrun. This is like, 70s for triathlon, where it was just kind of getting its, figuring out its format, doing all this stuff. And you have this opportunity where, EX Swimrun last year, everyone was like, what the heck is this? And now they're doing it again, and you see all these different formats coming up, and it's great to see, when we interviewed Michael, he was like all about it. He was all in favor of the different formats and the different ways to express the sport. And it's great I think it's great for you guys to be exploring it as well, with all this experience, because you're essentially like living in this amazing time for the sport that who knows if it's going to stay this way, 10, 15 years. Hopefully it does. But yeah, you're enjoying it while it's nice.
I think we wouldn't be trying to press gang our triathlon friends into doing it if we didn't really believe in it. It's, it is the most amazing sport. The camaraderie.
There's something about the team. I know they're doing the sort of solo things now, but there's something about being with someone and and I actually, this sounds kind of a real corny thing again. We tether all the time now. We didn't used to always do that, but there's always a connection. But I actually think that's important. I actually like that. Otherwise, if you're like in a pair and I notice a lot of the the top sort of the Swedish runners and swim runners, they tether all the time as well. And I actually kind of quite like that little bond we've got, Bill.
Yeah.
So I think that I like that.
I feel the same way. I mean, I think honestly, doing a swim run, Chipper and I have done every single swim run together. I think doing one solo would just be kind of weird. For me.
Well, even the odd occasion when we were doing our training, and whether maybe you were away, and so if you trained on your own, so we do the same. So it'd be like a 3-hour training session. You did it on your own. It was soul destroying.
Yeah.
But when you're together, it's like.
It goes by a bit quicker.
Just so different.
We mentioned in the beginning, you're just more than the sum of your parts when you're relying on someone and they're relying on you, and you want to make sure you have things you could hold over their head later and things like that.
That's right.
Well, we have kept you for quite a while. We really appreciate you guys staying up. We know it's late over there.
Yeah. And like we mentioned, this is a conversation that we've been wanting to have for a long time. We love and thank you for your support of us and our show and our, the little thing we're trying to do here to help grow the sport. Days. And from day one, it seems. And it's great that we finally had this conversation. So thank you guys so much for making the time.
And meet you in the flesh at some point.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. You come to Europe this year. I very much hope you can get over here.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
Whatever events you can get into, there's some tremendous courses waiting for you.
Yeah, we can't wait.
We're
gonna
have great people organising them, super helpful.
Can't wait.
Get you sorted and great competitors, real real camaraderie. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
That's
see him at
great.
the finish
And,
line.
But no pressure, and really genuinely, I mean, I think what you're doing is fantastic. It's so, you can see how much it was needed because you've been able to get the great and the good on your show.
Yeah.
It's been phenomenal to hear that, and we love the gear talk.
Oh yeah.
Because mostly we can say, yeah, we've done that already.
Yeah.
But I mean, it took us 5 years,
Right, exactly. Yeah, we're just trying to save people from having to
Spend 5 years figuring it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I tell you had Marcus Barton on, and I tell you, people like him and me that have suffered the DOMs of those Gen 1 swimsuits.
Oh, yeah.
You guys today, you don't know you've been born.
Yeah.
I think I see an episode with caffeine gum in our future.
Yeah, do a caffeine gum.
I think so.
Do like a clinical trial.
Yeah,
See what
we'll
happens.
do something like
Yeah,
that.
you
But
just want you want a bit of a boost.
really, really appreciate it, and you all have a good night, and thanks so much.
Brilliant.
Thanks.
Night.
Cheerio, guys.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, that's it for this week's episode. Thanks so much for listening to the show. Make sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and leave a review, since that's the best way to help other people discover the show and the sport of swimrun.
Sign up for a newsletter at lowtideboys.com. That's boys with a Z. And check out our meme page at the Low Tide Boys on Instagram. If you have any suggestions for the show or questions for us, send us a DM or an email at lowtideboys@gmail.com.
We'd like to thank Riding Easy Records for our show music, and of course our wives for their support and tolerance of all our swimrun activities, podcast, and other stuff.
Yeah, other stuff.
Other
Way to keep it PG. Finally, you can support our efforts on Patreon. Until next time, get out there and go for a swim,
Go for a run,
then another swim,
then another run,
and then another swim.
and then another run.
And then just keep going until you're done.
So you're done. Or maybe can't
And then
stop.
stop.